All right, we're back here once again at the Founders Club. We are sitting up here now, and the governor-owner of the Tri-City Americans, Mr. Ron Dixon, joins us. And, Ron, a good win tonight, wasn't it? It was very satisfying.
They're all good. This one was particularly good, Tony. Yeah, you're right. Great win.
It was an excellent win, and I know that it really got the players all excited, and I think it's one of those kind of wins that can go on for a few more games, can it? This kind of emotion can definitely build.
Well, you know, if we had a problem, as I said about 6 weeks ago, I think it was the fact that because of the new guys on the team, they hadn't kind of come together as a family, and you have to have that. It's such a darn tough sport that you've got to have 21 heartbeats all in the same rhythm and going in the same direction. And if this incident has done anything, it's certainly welded together that unit, and the guys universally respect Steve for what he did, and he respects them. And now you got guys that they were strangers before, and now they've been through war together, and that's a pretty bonding experience. So that's certainly helped the club, and I think you know, guys have gone out on a limb, and now they've got to show their stuff, and they are showing it. So that's just great.
Speaking of the incident, obviously the press all over it, world press actually. I understand that it is all the way back in England, from what I understand, and this has made such big news that the editors are now sending sports reporters. Sports Illustrated magazine is now represented here tonight. What does that do? I mean, is that a negative, a positive? Obviously, it's been a real hectic week for you, but overall now, look back on it. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm not really sure what to think. You know, I didn't find out the team didn't show up till 9:15 that night. I got a call from a Canadian press reporter. I was down visiting an old college friend, and you know, I didn't know the team didn't show up till about an hour after it happened. So I was the last guy to find out. But what do I think about it? You know, I think it was unfortunate, and I think that you know, Bill LaForge is not a bad man. I think you know, I think it's been. You know, he's probably put 100 guys in the NHL, and if you talk to those guys, I don't think there's one that wouldn't say they were a lot better for the experience of knowing them. But I think I think he came in and didn't show enough respect to the existing conditions and the existing, you know, coaching personnel, and I think that cost him, and it cost him a lot more dearly than he probably thought. And of course, the press is, you know, they have what's known in the media business as a feeding frenzy, and they get on that track, and away they go, and of course, little things become big things, and big things become mountains. And so what do I think? I think it's unfortunate, but I think the bottom line is that the team's playing great, and Mr. LaForge is getting a paycheck, and the players are happy, the coach is happy, and how could I not be happy?
All right, and the team is playing very well as well. What is going to happen now? Obviously, I think the big question that's been raised is any kind of retaliation. Obviously, I know that the American players, there's going to be some form of judgment against them. They're going to be spending 10 hours, I believe, of community service, taking care of that as far as their, quote, punishment, I believe. If there's a better word for it, I'm sure.
Well, no, the word's punishment. You know, maybe the objective was, in their eyes, a correct one, and maybe it was a correct one, but you don't have to use a howitzer to do what a pea shooter will do. Obviously, it's common sense that if the boys don't want to play for a certain or with a certain individual, then it's pretty stupid of management to try and force them to do so, because it's counterproductive. I mean, they can only play for someone they like and respect and who they can learn from. So, I mean, you know, they didn't have to do that, but in their minds, they probably thought I knew all about it, and you know, they, I think to a man, you know, we had a meeting a couple of days ago, and to a man, you know, there was a little tear shed and some hugs, and you know, I think, you know, I've known some of those boys since they were 7 years old, so there's going to be no retaliation.
You speak of them as boys. A lot of the
well, they're actually young men, but I still look upon them as boys.
The age we know of being, you know, 16 to 20 years old in this league, a lot of people would take the attitude, though, that they're professionals. What do you look at it as? Are these guys, should they be treated as teenagers, or should they be treated as professional athletes?
Well, it's you know, that's another good question. Everybody's full of good questions tonight. They are professionals, and you know, they're getting paid to do what they do, and at the same time, in case they can't move on to the next stage, they're learning a backup skill, and that's what they're going to college and high school for. Every one of them wants to do this for a living. It's his chosen field of endeavor, and they are professionals, and They've got to learn to act like professionals, and I'm sure Bob Hope had many days when he didn't feel like going out and being funny, but he did it anyways because that was his job. And they've got to learn that that's their job too. And good times, bad times, no times, up times, whatever times. They've got to go out there and you know, take the lunch bucket and go to work. So from that point of view, they were wrong. From every other point of view, they were probably right.
Let's go ahead and open up the questions. I know that there's several people out here that would like to ask a question. Tom, you got somebody back here?
I want to know how come you guys would hire a guy like that had a losing record and got fired from the team he was on before?
Well, in actual fact, Bill LaForge has put more guys in the NHL, this is a fact, than any other coach in the history of junior hockey. And he's got the best winning record. He's got the second best winning record in Major A hockey of anyone that's ever played the game since 1922. So, in fact, he's a winning coach.
All right over here, guys.
I don't think everyone heard the question. Tom, do you want to give this gentleman the mic? So
He's got
it was a pretty good question, but I think people would like to hear it.
Yeah.
I forgot what I just said.
I think you said...
Okay, I was curious on, he just had a losing season last year, and you said he was a winning coach, and he got fired, so don't you think there's something going on? Maybe he's going downhill, he's not producing like he's supposed to anymore?
Well, you know, the Portland Winterhawks won the Memorial Cup. The next year they were in last place. You know, they didn't fire their coach, and they didn't particularly think that was disastrous. I'm sure they'd have preferred to. You know, what you do here in this business, you can't peak all the time. In sports business, you can't win all the time. It's impossible. So what you do is you try and get cycles, and you try to peak every 3 or 4 years and stay competitive in between. And, you know, that's the sports business. You can't be the best all the time. It's impossible. And so maybe you're right. But you see, you know, all the management team of the Tri-City Americans, including myself, Coach Kozubak, general manager, Joey Johansson, the whole management team, all the scouts, unanimously agreed to hire this man. So if we made a bad decision, I guess we all did. And I don't think it's a bad decision yet. I think the jury's still out. What was bad was the way that he handled it. And I still think this gentleman's going to find us some awfully good hockey players in the next couple of years.
All right, let's go right over here. Tom, we got a question.
Okay. How is Al Patterson? You mentioned paper that he's ill and that. Is he actually leaving the team or good or just temporarily?
He actually came back to work this morning. So, yeah. So, no, he's had his tests, and he's waiting for the results. He's going back up on Tuesday. He put in a couple hours today. He didn't feel too bad, so hopefully, you know, he'll be able to come back full time.
All right, question?
How do you like the playing tonight?
What did you think of the playing tonight?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
What did you think of the playing tonight of the team?
I thought the team played with a great deal of emotion, and, you know, I've been watching this game for a lot of years. I've never heard noise like that. I mean, how could you not play well, folks? I mean, how could you possibly not reward that kind of faith?
Good job, fans. That was great. You guys did great. Right back over here in the corner.
Yeah, are you going to keep this coach for more than 1 year this time?
Excuse me?
Are you going to keep this coach more than 1 year?
What do you think? Pardon me?
I was in sports when I was in college. You can't build a team on a new coach every year.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But you can't build a winner with mediocrity either. And the point is that, like, Rick is an excellent coach, in my opinion. One day we'll probably do this in the NHL. And, you know, once you get the right guy, then you hold on to him with both hands. And, you know, as far as I know, Rick's not going anywhere unless you know something I don't know. Yeah, no. He's got a 2-year contract, and we'll probably be talking about renewing that if he wants to stay here. So,
all right. We got a question over here.
Has there been a decision made about what to do about the Portland game? Is it going to be replayed, or are we going to have to forfeit, or?
It's going to be replayed. It's going to be replayed right here. And we've given Portland 2 dates to choose from. One of them is Thursday, the 22nd of February, I think. And the other one is a little bit earlier in February. It'll be replayed in the 3rd week or 4th week of February. And that's the only date in the rest of the year that both teams can replay the game. So that's why we're doing that. It's on a Thursday.
With the exchange of Donnie Blishen over to Portland, did that kind of help mend some fences there with Portland, maybe?
We didn't have any fences to mend.
All right. Another question?
Yeah, when you guys have, when you guys have games, some of the games that the team has bad attitudes, and, did they have a good attitude this game, or a bad?
Sunday had a great attitude. They had a great attitude. You could see that. You could see that. Like, they weren't going to lose that game, or they were going to die in the attempt. And you know, it's like, it's a funny thing. Like those 21 heartbeats, you get them all pumping in the same way. You know, there's nobody in the world that's going to beat you in the sports business. And the trouble is, and the difficulty the coach has, I mean, all coaches know the game and they know how it should be played. It's getting their guys to do what they're supposed to do and get them working together. And that means you got 21 egos, you got 21 guys that maybe, you know, don't feel like playing that day. And the coach's job is to get them all going and pulling and pumping in the same direction. If he does that, he'll usually win. As a matter of fact, he'll always win. And the guys who do that best are the best coaches.
All right. Well, that takes care of it. Governor Ron Dixon, ladies and gentlemen, and we will wrap it up right here. Next action for the Tri-City Americans will be on Sunday night. They will take on the Victoria Cougars right here at the Tri-Cities Coliseum. For Kirk Williamson, I'm Tony Ott. Thanks for listening.